Hello and welcome to episode 70 of Ready to Mosh. I'm Kev P, and with me is the partway to my drive, it's Gem G.
Hello.
Hello.
We're still on brand.
Still on brand, yeah.
With the download content.
So this episode is the third part to the series, and it's the review of Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, the hottest days.
Yeah, very hot days.
It's weird because it wasn't as hot as Bloodstock was, but it felt more hard work, I think, because it was bigger.
Well, it's bigger and there's hills, isn't there?
And all the hills, yeah, that's true. Bloodstock's nice and flat.
Bloodstock's flat. So just did make it a lot easier. But obviously, it's 10 degrees hotter there.
So aside from the heat and the dust, what did Saturday bring? It started with the barbecue.
Yes, it did.
Of course it did. The last one, though.
The last barbecue, yeah. Last breakfast barbecue. And then, what did you do?
I had to wash the dust out of my hair.
Oh, yeah.
And then, we had a few pre-arena beverages.
You could say that, yeah. Got through some.
You did. And then we went over to the Avalanche. And this was the only time I went to the Avalanche the whole weekend.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember if I watched anybody else in the Avalanche, actually.
I don't know, but yeah. I did say it got to be someone special to make me walk all the way to the Avalanche, and it definitely was.
It was someone special, yeah.
Yeah.
So our previous guests, it was Lake Malice.
Yeah.
And we got some pretty good spots.
We did. We both ended up on the barrier, slightly apart.
Yeah. I was kind of like smack in the middle.
I was more to the
You
side.
were to the left, weren't you?
Yeah.
So you're looking at the stage. So I think we were on pretty much every photo they took. And yeah, they just, again, raised the bar like they seem to do with every show.
Yeah.
You can see why they're going down so well.
Absolutely, yeah. They just owned that stage completely from start to finish.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe how busy it got. I'm glad it wasn't in the Dogtooth, to be honest.
Yeah, well-deserved upgrade on that one. Yeah, and they played all the songs.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. They had a blow-up dinosaur.
They did have a blow-up dinosaur, yeah.
They had a bit of pit rowing going on.
And I also saw, obviously this was well after, I think it's only a couple of days ago, I saw Blake giving somebody a guitar.
Yeah, I didn't see that on the day. I don't know how I missed it.
I saw him jump off the stage with the guitar.
Yeah.
But then didn't realise they'd actually given it to somebody, jumped back up on stage and then got a new guitar.
Yeah, I saw him go into the crowd, but I hadn't realised what had gone on.
Yeah, completely oblivious to it, but yeah, somebody's got a really cool piece of kit now.
But yeah, they were awesome, and it's just, we always say it, but it's so cool to see them. We saw them on their third ever show.
Second or third show, yeah.
Yeah, and just to see how they've grown in just over a year, really.
Yeah, and just over the course of a year, they've gone from playing the Beta as a support band to Death Blooms, and now they've been on tour with Bloodywood. They're playing multiple festivals. They've played Download to a huge crowd in the Avalanche. Yeah. And yeah, I hope it keeps going.
And after Lake Malice, we headed back towards the guest area, but I stopped off to watch Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah.
Because I did really want to see them after missing them last year. And they were really good. I didn't get to watch all of them because I was just so hot at that point. I felt like I was melting, but I think I watched from about track 2. Definitely saw Hip to Be Scared, which I think was about third. That's one of my favourites anyway. So as long as I saw that one, I'd be happy. But I stayed a bit longer, and I think I left after American Nightmare or thereabouts.
Yeah, so you probably did like half of the set.
About half the set, but yeah, I could just feel the sun on me, and I was dripping, and I just knew I needed to get some shade and some water.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I would have loved to watch the whole set. It was really good. You know that they're really fun and interactive, and all their stage setup and their props and their theatrics are great. And apparently they actually killed Download Dog, which I missed, but I've seen a clip of it since. And I think we didn't actually see Download Dog anywhere the whole weekend, which is not unusual.
Yeah, no.
But sometimes you see him on stage or kind of at the front in the, call it, like between the barrier and the stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were good. Glad I saw a bit of them at least. And then after that, I came and met you in the guest area, didn't we? Did we have some food at that point, I think?
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah. I had a disappointing gyro. Actually, the halloumi was nice in it, and the salad. It was just the bready bit was really dry. And compared to last year's gyro, very disappointing, I would say. It wasn't even rolled up. It was just flat.
It's not gyro, then.
What I didn't understand as well was there was an option of, you could have halloumi, you could have chicken, or you could have halloumi, chicken and chips. You couldn't just have halloumi and chips. That was probably my most disappointing food experience, I think.
Well, after that, I went to go and watch Clutch.
Yeah.
Did you come with me to watch Clutch?
No, I went to Motionless in White.
They were on the second stage, weren't they?
Yeah. I think I might have been able to see a bit of Clutch if they were on around the same time. I actually overestimated how long it would take me to get to the second stage. I was there about 15 minutes before I needed to be, because I left plenty of time. So I just sat on the grass for a bit and got the benefit of other people's shadows that were standing up.
Wise move.
Yeah, but then the fear of being trod on kicked in, so I stood up and moved further to the front.
And what Motionless might like?
Oh, they were awesome. So glad I finally got to see them. I was so disappointed when I missed them in 2017 because I didn't get in on time. Yeah, they were great. They did a really good mix of tracks, so some of the really heavier ones, and then some of the what I would class as kind of emotionless ballads, I guess. But they had really good sing-alongs to them, so it was just a really good atmosphere as well around watching them. And yeah, the crowd were really into it. They were interactive. Got to hear some real live Chris Motionless blares.
You enjoyed it then?
Yes, all good. Definitely worth getting hot for that one.
Well, yeah. Well, I was watching Clutch, and it was, I don't know, a typical Clutch kind of performance. Absolutely flawless. I don't understand how they never actually seem to move up the bill.
They're always like a mid-range, like a mid-table football team, aren't they?
Yeah. And I just don't get it. Because, they've got a huge fan base, obviously very talented, but they just don't seem to. It's almost like that Korn problem that Korn will never get the headline download. I feel like Clutch will never move up the bill.
No, I feel like most of my headline second stage, maybe one day.
I mean, I've seen them on the second stage before pack it out, and I've seen them on the main stage pack it out. So I don't get it, but yeah, they were faultless. It was a Clutch performance. They don't seem to put a foot wrong, so that was all good.
So our next move then was, I think we went to the guest area and watched some of Alexis on Fire from there.
Yeah, they were really good. I kind of wish I'd have been in the arena for that now.
Same, but again, it's one of those
It was
cases
one of those where you
of
just needing to sit
some shade.
Yeah.
And just a rest.
But yeah, they were absolutely great from what we saw. I mean, that was the beauty, like we said in the other episode, that was the beauty of those polls. Yeah. You didn't have to be in the arena. You could comfortably sit and watch.
And hear clearly. Yeah.
But yeah, from everything I saw and heard, they were fantastic.
After that, we popped back to the tent and I deposited you there for a party nap, didn't I?
Yeah. It seems I've done nothing but sleep. That's how it'll come across. I was only kind of sleeping for about 3 or 4 hours at night, and I think that was part of the problem.
Yeah. So with the heat exhaustion as well, a couple of days you needed a disco nap, didn't you?
Yeah. Which really annoyed me because I did want to watch the band that you went to go and see.
Mm-hmm. Which were Disturbed. So I think I missed the first track because I came into the arena when Stupefy was on. But I had this idea because I knew I wanted to go to Placebo next. So I thought I'll work my way up kind of to the top of the hill. And I'm halfway there for Placebo, which in theory was great. But I got to literally the top of the hill. I was in front of the Ferris wheel, which was good because there was a bit of shade there. But then all I could hear was Simple Plan on the second stage.
Oh.
So I didn't quite catch all of Disturbed for the first few tracks, unfortunately. It was just one of those awkward points and I couldn't be bothered to go any further back down the hill. So I just put up with it because I knew Simple Plan were only on for about another 10 minutes. So it was fine. So I was watching Disturbed while hearing Simple Plan. And unfortunately, Simple Plan really aren't my thing. So it wasn't like I could have
really
enjoyed that.
Really appreciate it, yeah.
But yeah, Disturbed were great. I've not seen them it must be nearly 20 years since I've seen them.
I'm trying to think of where you might have seen them. Would have been pre-2004, wouldn't it?
I saw them at Ozfest. I saw them supporting Marilyn Manson, and I can't remember which way around they were. Probably Ozfest. Don't think I've seen them since that.
Yeah, it was 2003. No, 2.
Yeah.
21 years.
Which seems bad.
It does for a band that size.
I know, just how I've just not seen them.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah. Anyway, they were great. They put on a good solid performance, played good range of stuff. They played some of the new album, which I wasn't a massive fan of, but they did play. I can't remember the name of it. There's one track I really, really liked on the new one, which sounded like old Disturbed. That was a good one. They dropped in the covers, Land of Confusion, big sing-along to Sound of Silence. Unfortunately, Simple Plan had done by then, so you could hear it. I did think they might have finished with that one, but it was about halfway through. You could see the whole crowd just singing along to that one, so that was quite magical to see.
I thought they would have finished with Down with the Sickness.
Well, so did I, but they didn't actually. That was second to last. Yeah, I was really surprised when they played that. I thought, this must be it. And again, that had a massive sing-along too, obviously, because it's their top song in it. Everyone knows that one. But they finished with Inside the Fire.
I'm surprised at that. I thought kind of like the last 3 tracks would have been Sound of Silence, Down with the Sickness, possibly Land of Confusion.
Yeah, all round, great performance. David Dramer's still vocally on point completely. Although interestingly, he's since had to cancel some dates because the dust of download has got to him and he's succumbed to it and can't carry on.
Yeah,
but at least we got to see
have
him.
they cancelled the rest of the tour?
I don't know if it's the rest, but it's at least the next few as we speak that are upcoming, which I think are festival dates as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great. And aside from the other sound interference, watching from right at the top of the hill was really cool as well, because you could see the stage, but then you got the screens and it all
works out. Yeah.
So next up, I went over to Placebo, and I went in with this with no high expectations of enjoying it, I have to say. After the reviews of their recent tour and the fact they were not very interactive, they were playing mainly new stuff. Obviously, they had their camera phone ban in the venues. So I really wasn't sure how this was going to come across, how people would react to it. And it wasn't actually that busy at first. Because I was at the top of the hill, I could kind of go straight down, get quite close to the front. But I think a lot of people then followed, obviously from further down the hill from watching Disturbed.
Yeah.
And when they first came on, I think they played 3 new tracks to start with.
Okay.
So started with Forever Chemicals and then Beautiful James.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, yeah, this is just going to be new stuff. I'll definitely bob off and see Creeper soon. But then they played Bionic.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay. And I think another couple of newer ones. But from then on, it was just old stuff.
Oh,
and I was like, wow, this is not what I expected. You know, Brian was even talking to us.
Wow.
I know. They did seem to have a couple of sound issues at one point, as quite a few bands did that I think we've already mentioned. And I know, I'm sure Brian said something like, oh, we'll be back with you in a minute when we've actually got some sounds.
Oh.
And I did fear that it was just going to go off in a huff.
He's got form.
He's got form, yeah. But he didn't. So then we just had a run through. They did For What It's Worth.
Yeah.
Slave to the Wage. Song to Say Goodbye. And then they played Nancy Boy, which is the first time they've played that since 2017.
Wow.
And at first, when they started playing the riff and the intro, I was like, Nancy Boy, but they didn't play it anymore, so they can't be. And I was like, oh my God, they actually played Nancy Boy. So excited. And then the bitter end, Infrared, and finished with Running Up That Hill.
Yeah, the irony.
Yeah, which had the biggest sing-along of the night. Obviously, it's a big track now.
Yeah, it's a track now that people know after watching Strange Things. They wouldn't have had a fucking clue before.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of people were singing along to, especially the older stuff as well, so it had a really good crowd response, but that one really had a really good sing-along. So yeah, I stayed till the end, in the end.
Oh,
the bitter end.
To the bitter end, yeah.
Yeah, so they were great. I was really impressed. They surpassed the expectations I had, just like I said, on their recent form. Although Brian had a white suit on and kind of white rimmed sunglasses, he looked a bit like the lead singer of Alphorn from a distance.
Oh dear.
Because his hair's about shoulder length as well.
Yeah, it's a poor choice.
It's probably not intentional to look like the Alphorn man, but yeah. One of the highlights of the weekend, that.
Oh, excellent.
So then, what is quite funny, I was absolutely convinced, we know when Creeper got announced as a secret set, or it wasn't that secret.
Yeah.
I was absolutely convinced it was the Avalanche they were on. And it was only partway through Placebo I realised by looking at someone's T-shirt that they were in the Dogtooth.
Oh.
So that could have been interesting.
That could have been a disaster.
Yeah. Or it might have been just before Placebo started, I think. So I was thinking, can I be bothered to get to the Avalanche from here? And then I was like, they're in the Dogtooth. That's just up there.
Well, that's good.
I think it's
at least you'd spotted it.
Well, exactly. And I think it's because they played the Avalanche last year.
Yeah, that you've just automatically gone to there, or you were going to go to there.
Although what is quite funny that there was I think it was an official Creeper tweet last week afterwards saying thanks, we had a great show on the Avalanche. So even they didn't know where they were.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I got to Creeper for about third track in, and it was really busy in the Dogtooth. I just stood on the edge. I was happy from there. I could see.
Yeah.
Really. And it was really humid at that point. Although the sun had gone down and I felt a bit more energetic from not having the sun on, it was really humid.
Yeah, it was.
Because there was some thunder, I think, forecast at that point. It seemed quite a short set, and it's transpired since they actually did get cut short.
Oh.
Apparently the Dogtooth had been running behind all day anyway, so obviously they came on last and got the brunt of them being behind, and they had to finish before Metallica started. Yeah. So they cut Annabelle from the set list, unfortunately, which I was sad to learn. I did miss the first track, which I was a bit sad about, because that was the new single. I would have liked to have heard that live. Never mind. So yeah, they played What I Saw, a mix of kind of older stuff and newer stuff, and we ended with a really good sing-along to Misery, which was awesome. That reminds me of when I saw them on the main stage back in 2017.
Wow, yeah,
I think they were first or second on then. That was a really good sing-along.
Yeah.
So, yeah, glad I saw them. A bit sad it was such a short set, but I have got tickets for November, so I'll get the full Creeper experience then. Just
as you were mentioning the weather, when I'd woken up at the tent, the humidity got really bad, and and there were huge black skies. And I remember sitting there and seeing it, basically the whole thing was lighting up in the distance, and there's no end of lightning going off. And it was just getting closer and closer and closer. And I would have come back and probably caught placebo, but I didn't want to come back with chairs and other things and not have waterproofs in case it did absolutely fuck it down.
Yeah.
So I was kind of left it as long as I possibly could, and eventually it just kind of skirted around us. It was really odd. It just did kind of skirt around the campsite and the arena.
Well, I was stood like literally on the edge of the tent, so I was almost half in, half out, and I felt a couple of drops of rain during Creeper. But then again, I wasn't sure if someone had just thrown a drink somewhere behind, or there were people with water pistols or something. But it could have been a few random raindrops.
But yeah, it was definitely on the horizon, and fortunately, it never hit, because I think it would have flooded a lot of the campsites.
And then Metallica Part 2, I joined you.
Yeah, you met me in the same spot as the previous nights that we'd done.
And as was tradition from Thursday nights, we enjoyed some cheesy chips with performance from, I can't remember what they were called, but they were the ones that I'd seen a lot of people with in like a cone-shaped thing and with some pink sauce on, which was garlic mayo.
Were mine cheesy chips?
Yours were just plain cheesy ones.
Oh, I thought I'd got rosemary chips.
Well, they were rosemary chips, but with cheese. They were seasoned with rosemary and salt and pepper.
Oh, I don't remember having any cheese on
Yeah, there was cheese mixed in. I was really impressed as well, because they put the chips in the cone, put some cheese on, and then put more chips and more cheese. So it was cheesy all the way through, which is how you should do your cheesy chips. And I'd seen quite a few people with this weird pink stuff. You know, when you see people's food sometimes, you're like, I need whatever you've got. Unfortunately, that was near where we were going to watch from. I think it was something like Popper chips or something.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a bargain as well. £8 for a large portion. Yeah, we'll probably do a post specifically on the food, I think, because we normally do, don't we? Give it some ratings. Although I feel like we didn't fully explore the food options this year.
Not all of them.
Yeah, we tended to stick to the ones kind of bottom right of the stage, because we tended to be around there when we were hungry, or the guest area. Anywho, back to Metallica. Night 2.
And for me, the strongest set.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that in the
Thursday, Friday
review. Yeah. Talking about that. Yeah, I preferred this one. Whether it was because we weren't so cold, that might have helped.
That could have been a part of it. It
really
wasn't
warm.
as cold. And I'm trying to think if the crowd was any busier or not. Probably about the same, I think.
It was about the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they started with Whiplash, which I think was the first time they've played it on this tour.
It is, yeah.
And I think they'd already kicked into that as I was walking down the hill to meet you.
Oh.
So that was cool. And then For Whom the Bell Tolls. Ding, ding, dong.
Yeah, Ride the Lightning. Then they played a couple of newer bits, didn't they?
Yeah, If Darkness Had a Son, I really enjoyed that live. That's one of my favourites off the new album.
Yeah, I mean, I still really don't like that new album, but
I'm still not a massive fan, but there are still odd tracks that I do really love on it.
Yeah, it did feel for me as well, like the middle bit, it just felt a little bit stagnant.
And a bit drawn out.
There just wasn't a lot of energy in that middle bit.
And I think what made it worse, although we did prefer that performance, was after the energy of Bring Me the Horizon the night before, it did seem very sedate and ploddy and just like old men doing their thing on stage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which it was, and they do it well, but...
Yeah, just wasn't the best.
Yeah. But some of the highlights for me were Unforgiven.
Yeah.
I do love that one. And Wherever I May Roam. And Whiskey in the Jar. That got everyone bouncing, didn't it?
Again, I was surprised they played that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I expected them to play that. It's a good crowd pleaser, I think.
It is, but you don't just because it's not their song.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But
I just wouldn't have thought they'd have played it. Yeah, and then they led into the two kind of big ones, didn't they?
Yeah, one, which... I don't think I've seen that one live before.
Which album was it on? Was it on the Black Album?
I thought it was on Justice for All.
Then you've probably not seen it live.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was good, although that kind of felt a bit drawn out with the kind of big build-up to it. And obviously they got the imagery from the video in, and it...
Yeah, so that was one of the good things about their stuff. They had got a lot of the imagery in.
Yeah.
One of the things I forgot to mention as well is they played the bit from, I think it's The Good, the Bad and the Ugly.
Yeah.
Morricone piece.
Yeah, they came onto that both nights, because I saw someone complain and say it was supposed to be unique both nights, but they came onto the same track.
They're not playing the fucking track.
I know, and that's what they always come on to.
Yeah, and then they finished with a classic.
Enter Sandman. Had to be done, obviously.
Yeah. Is that why we kind of said, okay, they got part of the way through and went, that'll do now?
No, we did watch all events.
Oh, did we end up watching
it? Was Master of Puppets. We went all the way. We left part way through, but I wanted to watch all events Sandman.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got this far, I'm sticking it through. And we weren't cold, so.
But yeah, it was a stronger set for me. And like you said, it's a strong set for you. But I think that's a age, because most of the stuff that they played on this set, I'd say at least 2/3 of it was Kill 'Em All, Justice for All, and Black Album.
Mm.
So it's kind of the stuff that we'd have grown up with.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Partly.
And I think that just made it a bit stronger, whereas some people preferred... Was it Ride the Lightning that were playing on Thursday?
Yeah, they did play Ride the Lightning.
Yeah, so I feel like it was earlier stuff.
Mm.
It was the earlier, thrashier stuff that they played, as opposed to the ones that we prefer.
Yeah. I still feel they could have managed with one night.
Yeah, but, you could cram it all into one night.
Oh, never mind. It was what it was. Like I said to you, it might be the last chance you get to see Metallica. Because I don't know if I would pay to see their own show.
No, I wouldn't, no.
Unless they maybe shrink it back to arenas rather than stadiums, which I can't see them doing.
No, they won't do that.
So
the thing is, they don't need to.
True.
So they won't.
I think if I were to go and pay and see them in a stadium show, it'd have to be like a really good lineup with maybe 2-3 support bands I really want to watch as well.
Yeah.
Make it a full event rather than just Metallica.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them multiple times now, and it's, although they're great live, I've no real desire anymore to watch them.
Same.
So, like, when they're obviously headlining at a festival, I will watch them, but yeah, the desire's not there anymore.
Mm. And after that, we went back to the tent and called off for a cup of tea on the way.
Yeah, I grabbed a coffee, helped me sleep.
Yeah, and that's the end of Saturday.
Then on Sunday, and it was no barbecue Sunday.
Yeah, we went out for breakfast on Sunday, which we talked more about in our RIP episode.
Yeah, and then once we'd done that, I think we had to get back quite early.
Yeah, and I had to wash the dust out my hair again.
Yeah, and then it was off into the arena to watch the first band on, which were Bloodywood. Yeah,
in fact, I think we called off for a drink in the guest area first, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And a bit of a cool down after that massive 10-minute walk.
Yeah, that huge walk.
Yeah, and we always knew Sunday was going to be a busy day. And I think despite the heat, we pretty much saw everyone we intended to.
Pretty much. So, well, just because of clashes, we couldn't watch everybody. But yeah, we saw a lot of bands on Sunday. And yeah, Bloodywood were amazing again.
Yeah, which we expected them to be after Bloodstock last year.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't get higher up the bill at Download, especially after the performance at Bloodstock.
We say that, though. The venues that they've been doing on their own tour have been relatively small. And they've all sold out, haven't they?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because I'm sure they could sell bigger venues, but...
I suppose it's that risk from where the, for all the logistical costs and everything else, but...
Yeah, fully expect them to do in bigger venues and be higher up the bill next time they're over here.
Yeah, definitely. They were really, really good.
Yeah.
And I want to watch them again and again.
I mainly watched them from the top of the hill because I had a little Rockfit meet up on Sunday by the Big Wheel. So I kind of watched them from up there, but watched them a bit closer up as I started my descent up the hill, or ascent up the hill.
So I watched them a bit from the guest area and then from inside as well. Yeah. And yeah, they were fantastic. Really, really good live. And anybody who's not seen them, you need to go and watch them.
I then watched Blind Channel kind of at the same time on the second stage from a distance as part of our meet-up. So they sounded really good. They didn't actually have that big a crowd, actually. I thought they would have had more people there. I know it was early, but it was probably one of the emptiest I've seen the second stage. I could actually see some grass around it at that point. Yeah. There was still a good crowd there, but I just thought it might have been bigger.
Oh, that's interesting. And then I watched Lorna Shore. Did you watch Lorna Shore with me?
I met you, I think, during Lorna Shore, because when they first came on stage, I was still at the top of the hill with the Rockfit gang, and it was so funny because you could see people doing the circle pits, and the clouds of dust that were coming up from that, you could see from the top, was insane.
Yeah, it was a very, very dusty Sunday.
Yeah.
But Lorna Shore, fantastic again, and glad I watched them.
Yeah, like I said to you, how does that noise come out of Will Ramos's mouth? Like, where does it come from?
God knows.
It's insane.
Yeah. But that was a really solid performance again. And then I think, did we then meet up and go to the guest area for a drink?
That's when we sat in the kind of teepee bit.
Yes.
We were torn between, do we stand in the sun or do we get some shade but it's hideously humid?
Yeah, the humidity was really bad in there.
It was just.
But we found somewhere to
grim.
park and sit down for a little while.
Yeah, and I think it did help, although we were sweating a lot in there,
Yeah.
but at least not out in the
Not
sun.
burning. And then we went back to go and watch The Who.
The H.U. Who.
H.U. Who, yeah.
Yes. Who are awesome. I love them so much.
I do, and I can't wait to see them again.
I kind of regret not seeing them last year when they played Rock City, but I think there was a reason we couldn't go to that.
Yeah, there would have been, otherwise we would have gone.
Yeah, but they had a really cool set. I loved the fact that they played Sad But True at a festival where Metallica had played twice.
Yeah,
Actually, did I prefer their version? I don't know. It's different, isn't it?
it is
Kind of.
different, yeah.
And Yuva Yuva You is one of my favourites because it's a Rockfit song, so you have to do the movements to it.
You do.
Can't, yeah, you can't not do that. So if you spotted some people doing weird arm movements during that track,
That's why.
that's why. They were Rockfit people. It's what we do.
And then after that, we went up to go and watch Avatar.
And I think you stood a bit further back than me for that.
Why did I do that?
I don't know.
Had I got camping chairs by this point?
No. I think you just wanted to stand further back.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I went nearer the front and sat in people shade again for a bit till they came on.
Yeah.
Because it was on the left-hand side of the second stage. That wasn't quite as sunful.
No, it wasn't.
I think because of like the structure of the stage, it was just blocking out a bit of the sun at that point.
Yeah, Avatar, again, one of my top bands of the weekend.
Yeah, they're always good though.
Never let you down.
I felt the set was too short, but it was probably the right length for them at that time of day. It just felt short, I think, after seeing them in full a
Yeah.
few months ago.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It did seem... it was the same with Bloodywood. I thought Bloodywood's set was too short. And with Avatar, I thought it was too short, but it kind of worked for the time of day and the heat. And
Yeah, and they obviously picked out the highlights and they played what I would want them to play anyway.
yeah, they played... Oh, what did they play? Freak Show. They played...
Dirt I'm Buried In.
Yeah. They played Valley of Disease and finished on...
Hail the Apocalypse.
And finished on Hail the Apocalypse, yeah.
I think they started with Dance, Devil Dance, which they did when we saw them on their own tour.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, I think you're right. But it was a great set.
Yeah.
They were really good.
And this was the worst clash of the weekend for me because they clashed with Behemoth.
Yeah, it was the worst clash for me as well. I really wanted to watch both, but
Yeah.
I thought it'd be bad form if I'd watch Behemoth with an Avatar t-shirt on and not watch Avatar.
What we should have done, you should have watched Behemoth with your Avatar t-shirt on. I should have watched Avatar with my Behemoth t-shirt
Yeah.
on. But we still saw some of Behemoth.
Yeah, I think we caught like the last 2 or 3 songs.
Yeah. I think as well with Avatar being on the smaller stage, I knew that I'd kind of be able to get nearer more comfortably than I would for Behemoth.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, so I think we caught like the last 2, 3 tracks of Behemoth.
Yeah, I think they were on Versus Christus. When we got
They were,
there.
yeah.
So sad that if it had been slightly quicker, I'd have got Once Upon a Pale Horse because that's one of my favourites off the new album, or the latest album. But still got to see Bartzabel, which is my all-time favourite.
Same, yeah. I do. No, is it my favourite? No, I don't think it is.
The Deathless Sun would have been very good as well, had we seen that in that heat.
Oh, God, yeah.
Very fitting.
But yeah, they had the full kind of gear on.
Yeah.
Oh, God knows how hot they were in all of that.
Yeah,
But
I'd be used to it. But yeah, again, as we said, it doesn't work so well in the bright, hot
it
sunshine.
doesn't, no. They also didn't have as big a crowd as I thought they would.
No.
It did seem on the thin side. And I don't know
Yeah.
if that's because of the heat.
I think it could have been the heat. We were fairly far back from where we were anyway, so there's quite a bit of space behind us.
Yeah.
But probably a combination of the heat, the Avatar clash. I'm not sure who were on the other stages at the same time. And they are quite, in terms of your overall download lineup, which is quite varied, they are on the more extreme side, aren't they?
They are on the heavier
So
side, yeah.
I would think a lot of your average download goer might not be quite into that.
Especially for the lineup this year. Because it was more... There were a lot of acts that would have been better suited to Leeds, I think.
Quite a few that we said, yeah. And a lot more that are just more crowd-friendly kind of...
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Whereas Behemoth are on the more extreme side of metal compared to a lot, which is more of a Bloodstock thing, in it.
Yeah.
So there weren't many other acts on that kind of level that Behemoth were on.
Yeah. But again, I feel like it was a bit too early in the day for them as well. I feel they'd have been better served at night.
I think, or just before Slipknot rather than Partway. I get why Partway were where they were, because I think they led on well to Slipknot.
Yeah, I think they'd possibly have been better just before Ghost.
I mean, I think they would have looked better on the Dogtooth, but I think they're too big a setup for that, aren't
they're
they?
way too big for Dogtooth.
Yeah. I also love the fact that they, not only them, but all the bands that had pyro in that heat already in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Like, we need to be hotter.
Yeah, how can we make tonight even hotter?
Let's have some flames. After that, I think we popped into the guest area again for some shade
We did,
and
and a drink.
And then went to the Dogtooth to see Sowen.
We did.
I think we caught a bit of I Prevail from the guest area and on our way up to the Dogtooth. And I think I got some food at that point on my way up to the Dogtooth.
Yeah, and Sowen as well wasn't as busy as I thought it would be.
No, I was kind of on the edge of the tents because I didn't want to go in because it looked all clammy at that point.
Yeah, I was a lot further in than you, and it didn't look that busy.
And I think that was one of the times as well, particularly the second half of the tent, where there was a lot of people who were clearly not in there to watch Sowen, they were just taking up space.
Yeah.
But the people kind of stood where we were really into them.
Yeah.
So it's like a tent of two halves almost.
Yeah, pretty much. But Sowen were great.
Yeah, I really want to see them at a proper show.
Yeah, I'd like to see a full length.
I feel like I didn't fully appreciate it because I was quite hot and bothered at that point and starting to worry about getting a place for Ghost, and I was like...
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they're going to do a tour around us at some point soon.
Yeah, definitely be looking out for it. And then we parted ways.
Yeah, so I went to go and get camping chairs, I think.
Yeah, and I went to watch Bad Religion, which weren't my first choice for that time, but...
It was more about getting a spot, was it?
Yeah, getting a spot for Ghost. I really wanted to watch Partway, but I just feel like I'm never going to see them. I'm just doomed to only hear them.
Yeah.
I'm a bit annoyed because they did their arena shows, didn't they, earlier in the year? I was like, no, I can see them download. But it wasn't meant to be. So next time they do their own tour, I think we should go.
Okay, deal. Quite happy to watch them.
Anyway, yeah, went and sat on the grass for a bit for Bad Religion, and I was starting to get a bit closed in, so I stood up and got a bit nearer. But Bad Religion were really good. I do like them. It's not that I don't like them. I was just...
That's not who you were there for.
Yeah. But yeah, last time I saw them, they were in the Avalanche and they were really good. And do you know what? Considering their age, not being funny, but they're getting on now.
Yeah, they're not spring chickens anymore.
Yeah, they just put on such a good, solid performance, and like the vocals and the harmonies are still on point, like they were years and years and years ago. So yeah, they were good. They were entertaining. They were fun to watch. Played a good range of tracks, and yeah, it was an enjoyable way to pass the time while I was waiting for Ghost. And I did hear Partway in the distance, I think, after they'd finished.
Yeah, so I came back and watched Partway while you were still watching Bad Religion, I think. And Partway, just unbelievable. You can see why they're playing arenas. They should have been, for me, a headliner. Either those or your favourite band.
I feel like next time Partway play, they might be headlining.
I think you're probably right. Yeah. I think it's going to take another album release, but...
And that means I will get to see them.
It means you will get to see them, yeah, because you won't have any choice because they'll close all the other stages. But yeah, Partway showed why, again, like Bring Me the Horizon did, they showed me why they deserved to be that high up the slot. And full credit to them, they put on a stunning performance. And yeah, I want to watch them again as well, at the earliest opportunity.
On to Ghost then.
Here we go. This could take a while.
Well, I don't know if there's a lot to say. Yeah, so I got quite a good spot. I was probably about 6 rows off the barrier, I think. So it was getting quite squished in to the point I was like, I'm not going to look behind me because I don't want to know how many people are behind me. And there was also thunder looming at that point. It was definitely getting darker. And I was like, if we get a downpour now, I'm just going to get washed away into that fencing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a great all-round Ghost performance, what you'd expect. We had the build-up music, the Gregoria Allegri, what I call the church music.
Okay.
So there were some confused-looking people who clearly hadn't been to a Ghost show before when that was playing for 10 minutes before they came on stage. Didn't get any incense wafting that I could smell. Could only, just smell festival. So it was like the same start to the set that they've been doing for the whole Imperator, Re-Imperator tour.
Yeah.
So they played Imperium, and then the Ghouls came on and did the intro to Kaiserion. We didn't get a curtain drop.
No.
So it was just Ghoul playing solo. And then Papa came bouncing on in one of many outfits that he wore. And from that into Rats and Faith and Spillways, which I think is what happened when we saw them last year.
Yeah.
And then there was just a good mix of what I would say were kind of greatest hits. Got to hear Jesus He Knows Me for the first time live.
Yeah.
And Watcher in the Sky, which I don't think they played last year. And also Mary on a Cross, because they didn't play that in Manchester for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, which annoyed you greatly.
It did when they played it the next night, and they're on in for the rest of the tour. I think they did have some sound issues as well, because during, I don't know if it's Rats or Faith, Soddo Ghoul was really getting gnarly and stomped off and flicked his finger at his pedal for a bit, so something clearly wasn't right there.
Oh.
And also, in terms of glitches, I can't remember which point it was, but they were due to play Miasma, where they get Papa Nihil out and resuscitate him, and then he comes on and does his saxophone. And Papa said we were supposed to have Miasma at this point, but it's not working, so... So I think on that basis, they were at least a song short.
Yeah.
because I think they just played it was about an hour, and I'm sure it's supposed to be about an hour and 10, roughly,
Okay.
based on the timings. But yeah, just a great all-around performance.
It's what you wanted,
It's what you
isn't it?
want from Ghost. They've got, you know, the crowd interaction with Papa, all his different outfits, just the ghouls being the ghouls
Yeah.
on stage, the lights, the confetti, mummy dust, which I did get some at the end, managed to get some off security.
Do you want to explain
So-
what mummy dust is for people?
If you don't know what mummy dust is, during the song Mummy Dust, it comes out of the confetti cannons. It's basically dollars, and you get different ones for different tours. And the wind was blowing the opposite way to me, so I saw it all blowing the opposite direction. But I hung around after they'd finished just because I didn't want to get swamped in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then I spotted security were handing it out, so I just managed to get a little souvenir there. Interestingly, a lot of people did walk off after they played Mary on a Cross.
Doesn't surprise me. People who basically came for one song.
Yeah. Dance Macabre into Square Hammer to finish, which again is
That's
kind
a
of a
good finish.
traditional
Yeah.
one that they do.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then I had the trauma of trying to get to you, to the bottom
Of the hill.
of the hill,
To watch Slipknot.
which, yeah, that was the worst crowd congestion I have known, to be
Was
honest.
it worse than when I was watching Korn and you were trying to...
It wasn't worse than that, but I was trying to get down the hill and literally everybody was trying to get up the hill for that. So it was different. I was just trying to get across, but it was packed out, people standing, watching, waiting for Slipknot all the way up to the wheel. Whereas before that, around the wheel, you could kind of get across and you just couldn't.
Right.
So I did manage to ring you, didn't I, and say I'm on my way, but...
Yeah, I don't know when I'll be.
And bearing in mind, I was quite close to the front, so all the people behind me had already kind of started to move off, and the walk between the second stage up to kind of the path that goes down was not bad, just trying to get across people.
Hmm.
And people just weren't up for moving. Like, I was trying to be polite and saying, excuse me, can I get through? And I was just getting huffed at. And it wasn't like I was trying to barge people. I was just, you know, tapping people saying, can I just nip through? And people weren't up for moving out your way at that point.
Yeah, it was definitely more... I think that was part of the... part of the Leeds crowd that it seems to attract this year. There were a lot of dickheads.
Yeah, there was definitely some off vibes, as I've heard people say, quoted and all that. Was genuinely considering going out of the exit across to the village and down through RIP and back to meet you at one point.
Yeah.
But I did manage to move a bit. But then I tried to stick to the outskirts and go around the edge of the Dogtooth and that way rather than go literally through the crowd. And eventually,
Yeah, that's probably the way I'd have gone.
once I got in front of the Dogtooth, it did clear out quite a bit. But it was just that mass. And it wasn't like people leaving, people just moving over.
Hmm.
And obviously people coming out of watching Hatebreed in the Dogtooth as well.
Yeah.
So it was just a massive congestion. And whereas previously, in the last couple of full downloads, the Sunday night has been really quite quiet for like Tool and Biffy. This was as full as it had been all weekend.
Well, it's interesting. It was at the top, but it wasn't at the bottom.
I wonder if people were kind of congregating at the top, day tickets to leave, and all people who'd been there for the weekend but were leaving on Sunday night.
Yeah, very possibly.
So that might have made it worse up there.
The bottom half of the hill was the thinnest I'd seen it all weekend, I think.
And we were pretty much in the same spot we've been for both Metallicas, weren't we? So
Yeah.
it was nice to just get a bit of space at that point.
It was, yeah. And yeah, I can't remember that. It was probably Biffy was the last time I saw it that thin. It is obviously a Sunday thing that it does get thinner on a Sunday. But even still, for it to be Slipknot and to be that thin.
But so I think that's just where we were. I think kind of straight up from the stage all the way up the hill was still solid with people.
Yeah. Maybe it's people just not realising you can actually get a better view if you go down the side.
Yeah, some people just like to be kind of full
In the
on,
middle, yeah.
straight on the stage, don't they? But yeah, Slipknot. I guess we better talk about them.
So then we watched Slipknot, and I'm ashamed to say we didn't watch all of the set. We only watched probably half of it.
Yeah, which we kind of pre-planned anyway.
Yeah. Obviously, it's been a long week and very tired. Wanted to get back.
Thing with me with Slipknot is, like, I've seen them so many times before now, and they put on a good show, but they don't really do anything different.
Yeah.
Apart from change members.
Change members, maybe a mask.
Yeah. Overall, they're just, they do what they do and they do it well. A bit like Metallica,
Bit like
I guess.
Metallica, yeah.
Corey did say he was struggling with his vocals a bit.
He did, yeah. You could tell in not every single song, but there were certain songs you could hear him struggling.
I didn't really notice it until he said.
Oh, right.
It was good to see the band made it back as well because we thought he'd be missing.
Yeah.
So that was nice, I guess.
Yeah.
Good mix of tracks.
I think so. It was a mixture of... They played some really old stuff too.
Like Left Behind, I don't think they've played that for a while.
No. It's been a long time since I've heard that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they started with The Blister Exists, which I wasn't expecting.
And Eyeless, I feel like they've not played that for some time, or maybe I just can't remember.
Yeah. But they did play some kind of like Slipknot that was the Slipknot that I prefer.
Yeah.
So they played things like The Devil in I,
Yes, yeah, I love that one.
Wait and Bleed.
Yeah, I was surprised that came so early, actually.
I am as well. I thought that'd be a later edition if they were going to play it.
Yeah, we were kind of on the point at leaving, I think, after Left Behind, and then they started Wait and Bleed, and I was like, no, I've got to watch this one.
Got to watch this one, yeah.
And then we packed our stuff up to Unsainted.
Yep.
And they played Snuff as we were leaving, which was just like the end credits rolling, I guess.
I suppose it was, yeah. But annoyingly, because of the way the wind was travelling, you couldn't hear the rest of it like you could for the other previous nights.
Yeah, like when we got back to the tent, you couldn't really hear. You could hear bits, but the wind was in the opposite direction, wasn't it?
And it's frustrating because I'm a bit annoyed that we didn't stay for it all because they played People Equal Shit,
Yeah.
Duality, and Spit It Out.
Yeah.
I love Spit It Out.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourites.
But would you have crouched down?
Oh, fuck no.
Apparently that's one of the biggest crowds they've had for that. I read somewhere.
Oh.
Which is weird because I'm sure the crowd was probably not far off last time they were at Download.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyone who actually did the Crouch It Down and Spit It Out for the last track of the whole weekend.
Yeah, fair play.
Absolutely.
I could not have crouched. I don't think I've crouched down for a Slipknot thing since 2004.
Yeah. I did do it for Ring Me the Horizon though.
Did you?
On Friday, yeah. I didn't want to be the only one stood there amongst a crowd of youngsters crouching down.
Yeah, but you're getting on.
I know, that's what I mean though. I didn't want to make it obvious. Kind of wish I'd stayed for Snuff actually, because I think that would have been a really good sing-along to watch.
Yeah.
With the modern day equivalent of Lighters in the Air.
Yeah. And yeah, that was the weekend.
It was. So, little summary then of the good, the bad and the dusty.
And
the dusty says it all, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It was very fucking dusty.
Waking up feeling like a mad dog every day is not the one.
No, very dusty, very hot, very humid.
Very sweaty.
But I still think a good, like I said before, it's not been my favourite Download.
Yeah, I just think the heat and the amount of people impacted on things, but they're not really things down. Obviously, they, to a point, can control the amount of people, but not the heat.
Yeah, it just kind of exasperated the situation, I think.
Highlights of the weekend?
Oh, for me, Lake Malice, Avatar.
Yeah.
I think Bring Me the Horizon headlining. That was definitely one of the highlights. Watching The Who, because they were incredible. What about you?
I think all the ones that you've said, plus finally getting to see Motionless in White, Placebo playing Nancy Boy, Ghost, just because Ghost.
Oh, the Bronx.
Oh, yeah, the Bronx were good.
The Bronx was superb.
And another shout out to the Rockfit class I did as well. That was fun.
Yeah.
And the bad thing, we've always mentioned the heat and the too much peopliness.
Yeah.
The dribbly water. I don't remember. Can't remember if we've mentioned that.
That's in the RIP episode.
In the camp, I meant in the arena though. The water was just dribbly at times as well.
I was drinking far too much alcohol. I didn't know that you could get water.
I gave you water. Yeah, just the difficulty getting about, really.
Yeah.
But again, like,
it is what it is. It's a festival.
It is. Yeah, and I think you just had to make the most of what it was and you just adapt accordingly. And
yeah, that's what we tried to do.
So yeah, overall a great weekend. We'll be back next year.
Yeah, tickets have already been bought.
See you there.
See you 2024.
So I hope you've enjoyed our Download reviews, all 3 episodes. Thank you as always for listening. If you've enjoyed what you're listening to, please give us a 5-star rating on your podcast platform and a review would be very lovely indeed. Don't forget you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Ready to Mosh Cast and on Facebook, YouTube and TikTok at Ready to Mosh. So please give us a follow on there if you're not doing so already. And we'll be back next week to find out how Kev got on at Glastonbury. Wipe the dust off, Moog.